Hey loves, it's Britt, and in this video, I'm talking about Mercury in the 8th house in the Synastry overlay. So if your Mercury is falling into someone's 8th house or their Mercury is falling into your 8th house in Synastry. So this tends to show up in relationships where there's a very deep communication. Like right off the bat in this relationship, they end up talking about the meaning of life or maybe their traumas. Specifically, the 8th house person can be really opened up to talk about things that are secrets, like that maybe they've never shared with anyone, and then someone's Mercury goes into their 8th house and they just have this instinctive response to start telling them all kinds of deep things. And almost on one level, though, it's like they don't even need to tell the Mercury person because the Mercury person knows. So there's a very much intuitive link going on here where when the Mercury person is around the 8th house person, they kind of absorb energetically or intuitively these deeper contents of the 8th house person. So it's almost like they know their secrets, they know their motivations, they know their desires, even, and they know some of the deep, dark stuff going on within them, or they at least get a sense of what their 8th house contains. So, some of the books warn about this overlay that if there are adverse aspects to the Mercury person's Mercury in the Synastry overlay, that they might have bad intentions towards the 8th house person, or they could potentially use their knowledge of these deeper understandings of the 8th house person to their own advantage, right? Also, similarly, with Mercury in the 2nd house, there's certain houses that when someone is coming from a more selfish place, they can end up using the person, or yeah, the connection can end up going sort of sour, because that's the thing about Mercury, is Mercury's a very neutral, unemotional energy, and when it's falling into such an emotional place in someone's natal chart, these water houses, the 4th, 8th, or 12th, the Mercury person is able to really get a sense of this person's emotional nature or their deeper feelings, and it's really up to them what they're going to do with this insight. And of course, there is no overlay that I believe is truly bad or anything like that. And this one definitely would not be one of them. But it's just something to look out for, because the 8th house person can end up feeling very vulnerable or very even invaded, because if they didn't consent to the Mercury person's probing insight into their being, this can feel not so good for them. So that's just one manifestation. That's not the usual manifestation, but it can happen with Mercury in the 8th house in the Synastry overlay, where there's a bit of like, we question each other's motivations for the interaction. It's not an open, flowing interaction like some of the other Mercury overlays that I've talked about. It's a very calculating, communicative response, where sometimes we even question the other's hidden motivations that maybe aren't even there, because 8th house energy can kind of make us feel a bit paranoid or a bit invaded, or a bit like, what are you thinking, or what's your intentions with me, right? Like, um, for people who say those kind of things at the start of a relationship, what are your deeper intentions with me? Or, this would be characteristic of a Mercury in the 8th house overlay, where there's no casualties or like talking in a casual way. It's like you're just going straight to the point. Okay, what are your intentions? What are you doing here with me? Are you a good person? Are you gonna be in integrity? We just get straight to the point with an overlay like this, where what the word I was looking for, there's no niceties, right? It's just very much right off the bat, we're talking about deep things, we're talking about emotional things, and the Mercury person can really actually expand their mind to deeper spiritual truths or deeper levels of like intuition from being around the eighth house person. So it does kind of have that effect of like making them think about things in a deeper way. It's definitely not the most open, flowing place for their Mercury to be. They're not going to be like all super chatty. And the eighth house person might end up being the one that ends up just, word vomiting or, sharing all their vulnerable secrets and then having a vulnerability hangover with Mercury. So it's a very interesting overlay to see. It does end up producing like this feeling of like this is a deep friendship, or this is someone that we talk about meaningful things with. We don't talk about the superficial things. We don't do small talk here. We talk about the meaning of life and death and what happened to us when we were 5 years old that traumatized us for life, and now what we're going to do about it. It's an excellent contact to have between like therapist client, healer client, because these deeper things just kind of get brought up by Mercury's communicative energy. The eighth house person is just spilling it all, right? And they can end up really both learning a lot about spiritual things or the occult or even astrology. This would be a great placement to have for two people that are partnering in some level to talk about astrology or talk about psychology or talk about emotional things, kind of taboo, maybe even sex. If we're working on, let's say we're like a sex coach or something, and this would be a good overlay to have with someone who, we're working on some sort of project like that. There's something, taboo about it. There's something going on under the surface where, we're talking about things we don't usually talk about. And that can actually lead to an incredible intimacy with this overlay where we feel like we found someone who we can talk to about basically anything. And if the aspects to Mercury are more favorable and not severely difficult, there's going to be a great openness in communicating about these deeper things. Now, we might need to come back to earth at times and talk about actual like practical things. That could be one of the downsides of this placement, is that we spend all this time talking about these profound understandings of the universe, and yet, we forgot to take the garbage out or whatever. So this is where the focus lies with this overlay. And of course, you could have other things going on in the synastry to ground this, but with this one, we end up focusing a lot on the deeper things, and there's a lot of emotional communication, emotional depth, and the Mercury person can really be given a deeper understanding of things, and even like it can help them see things from a different perspective that's different from the way they were brought up or different from where they're coming from. It's like they get a lot of wisdom out of the interaction, and they need to really be conscious of the effect that they have on the eighth house person, knowing that they do get a lot out of them and they're able to sense a lot of internal things going on, and they need to really come from a place of integrity and love and choose to help the person, not hurt them. And then they can really accomplish a lot as far as like psychic studies or transformations, helping each other through these darker things in life. They can really be there for each other in that. So I'd love to know your experience of this placement in Synastry. If you've had it, what was it like? Let me know in the comments. And thanks for your requests, you guys. Keep the requests coming, and we'll talk soon. Okay, bye.